Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's episode of Hey Sister. As you can see, we're not coming at our regularly scheduled time, and this is going to be a brief broadcast today because we both have busy weekends today because it is the 115th Founders Day of the Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. So, hey sister, how you doing?
Hey, sister, I'm doing a lot better now, but how are you doing? You look really relaxed and like you're glowing. Can you tell the
Do
people
I
where
look like I'm glowing? I
you're
mean, my
glowing?
hair's a little mess. I've got a little travel under my belt here. I mean, you got
You look very, very glowy,
Oh,
dewy.
well, well, it's interesting. When I got a massage, the massage therapist, when she was like, "Your skin is so very soft and shining." So maybe that's the relaxation. Maybe it's my wonderful skincare regimen. Shout out to Ohini Beauty. Shout out.
Oh, and
But
did you see yourself, speaking of shout outs, did you see yourself in all the wonderful promos from the Black Coffee Company?
I did see myself in the black coffee promo. I was like, "Oh my gosh." And since I was traveling back, I didn't get to reach out to them, but I will definitely be reaching out to just thank them for the acknowledgement. They're some of my favorite people. And I had the pleasure of spending this weekend with some of my favorite people as well. And I see you got them eyes laid to the gods, honey. Where you going,
No,
sister?
unfortunately, this my lighting is not the best. Yeah, no, I'm going out to celebrate Founders Day with the lovely ladies of the Delta Beta Omega chapter here in Phoenix. And then later, I will be meeting up with some of my fellow charter members and chapter members of the Alpha Alpha Iota Omega chapter. So I had some back to back Founders Day things, and I didn't have anything planned, but I got invited to one thing and then got invited to another thing. So I figured I should step on out, especially since it's a holiday weekend.
Yes, step on out. Well, since this is a special weekend, and happy Founders Day to all of our sorority sisters near and far. Um, we wanted to come on, just as we said, have a brief moment to just acknowledge Founders Day, talk about our sorority just very briefly. But earlier this week, earlier at the near the end of last week, because it was also on that Friday, the Founders Day for Delta Sigma Theta. Tomorrow will be the Founders Day for Zeta Phi Beta. So there was, in a chat group that I'm in, someone asked the question about what memories did we have about, like, one of our first memories about our sorority and our fraternity. And, for me, one of the influences in my life in pursuing Alpha Kappa Alpha was my sixth grade history teacher, Miss Enola Woods from Thibodaux, Louisiana. And she told me when I was a little girl, I was kind of like her little helper. She would have me do things in her classroom. And she told me very distinctly, I remember it very clearly. She was like, "You're going to be an AKA when you grow up." And that stayed with me all of my life from that point on, wanting to know more about what it meant to be an AKA, what an Alpha Kappa Alpha woman was. She certainly was one of my role models and examples of woman of high moral character and standards, as well as someone who was an educator and loved on us. And so that was my model and that was my story. And it was very interesting to hear people's different stories in our chat thread. But so I want to ask you that question. What's one of your first memories of Alpha Kappa Alpha?
Well, I think you know it. Well, of course, I was highly influenced by my big sister, although she made it very clear to me to do what I wanted to do or what would work for me because I did what worked for me. So you do what works for you. Um, so and having the opportunity to go with you to Xavier University of Louisiana, a step show. By the way, I've been enjoying the various old school videos from y'all 1925 Society, and it's a shame that I call it old school when, yeah, I was stepping at that time. So but I can't ever forget that I had the wonderful privilege, and I didn't know it at the time, but the
Mhm,
way God works, he would have this person become a more influential part of my life. But on the day that I became a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, I had in my presence at my initiation the incomparable uh, Julia Brogdon Purnell, who was both an international president for the Links Incorporated as well as for Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. So that was one of the blessings and things that stuck with me. And so many years later, when we developed a friendship with her, a deeper relationship, to have her come to our mother's surprise 60th. Wow,
mhm,
time is flying. Birthday party. It was one of those moments where it's amazing the full circle impact. So I'm always forever grateful for having to be able to say, yeah, I had a former international president at my initiation.
absolutely. And I'm sure that has influenced your um, participation, not only just as a member, but also as a servant leader and having roles of leadership. Tell us a little bit about some of the roles of leadership that you played. And if you are tuning in, we are having a special conversation about Alpha Kappa Alpha Founders Day. If you are a member, Sarah, drop your name in the comments and tell us about your one of your memories of Alpha Kappa Alpha, or something that you cherish as a story about Alpha Kappa Alpha. But back to you, sister. I know Julia Brogdon Purnell was a just a phenomenal woman, and
Mhm.
all that she did and accomplished in her life, as you stated. And I'm sure your experience of her, even at that early stage on your initiation day, um, left some residue, left some traces that allowed you, or even had you decide that, I want to kind of not just be a member, but be a servant leader.
Yeah, and I don't know that at that exact moment if I had that much if I recognized it or had that much insight or wherewithal at the point to know that. Um but I will say that, and shout out to my undergraduate chapter, the Beta Side chapter at Southern University in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I had the wonderful privilege of seeing what I saw real student leadership on my campus.
Mm,
And so don't know consciously, subconsciously, directly, indirectly, but when those women decided to select me to be a part of their chapter, I determined that it was indeed for a lifetime. Many years ago, in having a conversation with my father about marriage, and asking, do you just know? And he told me, no, I don't think you just know. You make a commitment and you stick to it. And that's how I've approached my leadership, my life, my Alpha Kappa Alpha journey. You make a commitment and you stick with it. And I made that commitment 25 years ago, 26 years on March 23rd. And it's been it's taken me to many places. It's allowed me to meet so many different amazing women, And so now I serve in the capacity of the Intermountain Cluster Coordinator for the Far Western region, which is covers the states of Arizona, Utah, and Nevada. And so I serve in this capacity. Now I've served as a chapter president, both on the undergraduate level as well as on the graduate level. I am a charter member, like I said, of Alpha Alpha Iota Omega chapter. But I don't think I consciously thought about any of that. I think it just boiled down to me being, I made a commitment and now I have to stick to it.
Mm, okay. All right. That's fantastic. Well, I know that
And my big sister has always been, she's she's made some changes in terms of chapter membership, but my big sister never moved to a place and didn't join a chapter. And
true. Yeah, I've been in, I think I counted it up. I think I've over the course of my lifetime, 5 chapters starting with undergrad. So yes, always affiliated with a chapter. And this year, as some of you who follow me on my business page know, that Jubilee is my word for the year. It is all about celebration. And this year, 2023 marks my 30th.
wow.
Um, yes. So Epsilon Tau chapter fall 93, we are looking forward to gathering and loving on each other later this year to mark our 30th anniversary. And it's amazing how quickly the time has flown by. It's really astonishing. Um, because there's, life is always gonna be lifing. So,
Hmm.
it's about the living. And it's been an honor and a privilege to live in a space with some beautiful women of Alpha Kappa Alpha. Teal Holden shouted out in the comments there, happy Founders Day. So happy Founders Day to you, Teal. Another phenomenal woman, a phenomenal servant leader, um who gets the job done. And that's one of the things I want to say about those Alpha Kappa Alpha women, especially, I talked about Miss Enola Woods so very fondly. And then I had another teacher who maybe it wasn't as fond, but but from a standard, the level of expectation,
Hmm.
um Miss Lagarde, by far. I mean, every day, to the way she dressed, the way she carried herself, her manner of speaking, everything about her was excellent. Now she was hard on me for and she might have been hard on you as a result too.
Yes, she was.
But I think it's because she had this level of standard um for us as women. And I just, yeah, even those who were a little tougher on us, it's like those women meant so much and taught me so much.
And we
So
can't, and if speaking of just teachers, educators, I mean, I can't forget Miss Cleo Verret, who
recently
passed away
passed
last
away.
year, but who definitely also wasn't even one of my teachers directly, but was a teacher. And we could do a whole nother Hey Sister about the impact of having black teachers, black male and female teachers, um, and seeing that example. But just seeing her example, uh, especially as a tall woman as
Hmm.
well, and very
Very
stately.
tall, very regal.
Yes,
And I'm gonna miss seeing her, her, because until she couldn't any longer, I would always see her at regional conferences, at boulets. And I just had the pleasure of being on vacation this weekend with two of her daughters. Um, yeah, who are also Alpha Kappa Alpha women. So shout out to to Paula and
Well, you
Cheryl.
need to shout out the birthday girl because she wanted y'all.
I'm gonna
She
shout out the birthday girl. I have
okay.
something her because her birthday is tomorrow.
Yes.
Um so shout out to my really good friend who I had the opportunity to initiate at Xavier University in 1994. Dr. Daria Milton Babineau, who is celebrating a milestone birthday on tomorrow. But as today's Founders Day, before we departed on our trip, wished her a happy Founders Day. Um, but as a very good friend of mine, I had no idea she even had interest. And so to be able to have that also as a part of our story, as a part of our journey together is a wonderful thing. So happy birthday, sister, and happy Founders Day. All right, so Teal, oh, she wrote something.
Mhm.
Yay! I love it. Let's read it. It said, my fondest moment was the night of my initiation. My mom, two aunts, grandmother, and their close Alpha Kappa Alpha friends slash sorors came to my grandmother's home to do a small, intimate celebration. All of these women taught me so much over my lifetime. Having them surround me singing the hymn is my favorite memory.
Mm.
Also, pinning my cousin with my grandmother's pen in her
Oh.
memory this past January. Oh, that's about to make me cry, girl. Oh, that's about to make me cry. Yes, because I had the privilege of pinning you, sister. How did you feel in that moment?
Okay, sister. Yes, it's one of those. Well, okay, let me be honest. In that moment, I was like, I did not necessarily get the gravity of the situation at that moment. And I was like, oh, I'm not, people start crying, they get emotional. I was like, I won't cry. I won't get emotional. And before I know it, I also was crying and had become emotional as a result. So yeah, it was it ended up again being one of those moments where, and I think, look, for the people who know us today, they know the hey sister, always hanging out with each other, always being around each other sisters. They don't know the sisters who
They don't know
struggle.
you ain't like me growing up,
And
girl,
so
because I
you
was your
ain't like
big
me. You ain't
sister.
like me either. And so they don't know about that quite as much. So that actually became, I think, one of the moments for us as biological sisters to connect on a different level, and to create a relationship that, I mean, we've been doing great ever since, girl.
I love this till we were all pinned with my grandmother's pen. Happy to
Ooh,
keep on the tradition.
that's beautiful.
That is so, so beautiful and so, 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 so deep because for on our maternal side, that immediate maternal family, I'm like the first um
College graduate.
college graduate and person to join the sorority, and I think you are the second.
Mhm.
On our father side, that immediately family side, I don't think we're not the first college graduate, but I definitely was the first to join a sorority in that
Mhm.
immediate family side. So
And I
um
think I was the second,
I
actually, as
think you
well.
were the second as well. But a lot of that always that had to do with, like I said, Missy Nola Woods and what she said to me when I was in the 6th grade. And, you know, it's been fun. So some of that extended family on the father side, always good to see Rosalind Ross and Martha Ross, mother and daughter tandem at sorority conferences. And there's just been some beautiful blessings and beautiful moments.
And our
Um,
mother, of course, anytime she can find a cousin that is an
honey,
AKA, she is
yeah,
going to let us know. And it will be at a conference. It could be at the international conference.
yes.
22,000 people. Like, look for my daughters. I'm like, baby, they not gonna
They
find
not
us.
gonna find us.
They don't
But
know
it's
us.
amazing how people do find us.
That's true.
It's amazing how people do find us. Now, since I cut all the color out of my hair, they don't find me as much as they used to
Right, right.
because they always used to look for the hair. But also want to just do a shout out to our little cousin, our younger cousin, again, part of that extended family chain, Jasmine Singleton, who
Yes.
reached out. Um, because her mama called our mama, and then she was like, "I'm interested," and we were like, "Okay," and we're like, "Well, we want to talk to you before we write any letter for you, right?" And she was sharp, and she was on it, and she was made in your undergrad chapter where you were initiated, and she went on to be a chapter president
Mhm.
as well.
Yep.
She was very active
He was
and
also a
involved,
leadership fellow. I was a leadership
a
fellow.
leadership fellow. I mean, she was on it. And that just made our hearts so happy. And so we saw her a couple weeks ago at our cousin's homegoing celebration. And she still comments on, like, if it wasn't for y'all. Right. And I just think it's a beautiful thing.
And she also asked immediately, can you tell me more about the chapters in this area? Because I'm going to be moving
Hmm.
to this area and I want to know what chapters that I can affiliate with. And it was funny because I was like, you ain't even moved yet. How you, and
She
she's
said she done did research on all of them. I was like, "Come on with it." I said,
like,
"Well, when you get here, wherever you land, I will tell you who to be connected with."
right. But then
Yeah.
she said, well, it's you. Didn't you tell me I better stay active? And I'm like, touche.
Touche, girl, touche. So, well, we have no intentions of keeping you on very long. We are, sister is heading off to her respective Founders Day celebrations and recognitions and acknowledgments this evening in her area. I literally, about an hour ago, just got back into the country uh, from a wonderful celebration, as I said, with my good friend, also sorority sister, celebrating her milestone birthday. And we just could not let the day go without having some acknowledgement of our 115th Founders Day. Congratulations. Let me pull up the names so I don't get it wrong. To our newly initiated honorary members. Oh, hold on.
Well, we know we have Erica Campbell,
Erica Campbell of
not
Sister
of Sister
Sister,
Sister.
Lord,
Girl.
Mary, because who I love, Lord Jesus. Why I said sister? Hey, Rosalind, we
You
talked
know,
about you and your mama. Y'all
it's
our favorites, some of
true.
our favorites. Um,
I love God. You don't love God?
I,
Just
what's wrong with you?
Miss
Um,
Patty LaBelle.
Miss Patty LaBelle,
Patty, baby.
Patty, Auntie Patty, Allison Felix, um, and now the last young woman, I'm
She's a congresswoman.
Congresswoman. Hold on, let me get her name right now. Lisa Blunt Rochester. So we want to welcome our newest honorary members. Welcome to the sisterhood. I want to celebrate all of those who are celebrating their milestones this year. So those of you, I have some good friends who are welcoming them to the silverdom, silver life.
Yes.
Those who have made it to the golden life, diamond and pearl life. Um, Congratulations, sorors. We love you and we thank you for, as my sister said, making a commitment and sticking to it. Hey, go ahead. Hey, Silver
Yes.
Soror.
Silver, Silver. Yes. Come on.
Woo!
Well, sister, before we before we go, I do want to say very quickly, there's some other things that are happening today. Of course, today is also our Uncle Jerry's birthday. So I do want to say happy birthday, Uncle
Happy birthday,
Jerry.
Uncle Jerry.
It is also obviously Dr. Martin Luther King's actual birthday. I know most people only look at the day that we observe it, but today, January 15th, is his actual birthday. And I saw a wonderful image today. I believe it would have been his 94th birthday. And it was, it was just an image of him and what he might have looked like as an older gentleman. So definitely want to acknowledge that. And I also want to acknowledge your namesake, our grandmother, Miss Florine Hill, who passed away actually on this day. I believe it's 62 years ago, but I could be wrong with the exact number. But I think it's important to acknowledge that as well, because if not for her, there would be no us and there would be no Founders Day for us to celebrate. So I definitely, want to throw that out there. And then the last thing I wanted to say with regards to our newest honorary members, listen, I'm going to challenge you all. I'm going to challenge you all to look at Sister Fantasia, who just became a member of Sigma Gamma Rho sorority. If Tasia ain't representing everywhere she goes, I don't know what she's doing. So I would love to challenge you all to really embrace this sisterhood, to not just show up in the times that the sorority calls on you to show up, but to show up and show out every day, because there are many of folks who might have wanted to have the privilege to be a member of this sorority and they didn't have that opportunity. So just looking at Teal's beautiful story, neither of our grandmothers even had the opportunity to go to college. So I just hope and pray, like Tasia had a concert, I think, in Dallas last night. They said the poodles was out in numbers.
Hmm.
And she had her stuff on her Instagram page. She was
Head to
blue
toe
and
with it.
blue and gold head to toe. So I would challenge those honorary members to take it up and be a part and participate with all that you have.
And not just our newest, but
Not no,
all.
yes, all.
Not just our newest, but all.
Yes.
Because models matter. Role
Mm,
models matter. We talked about the women who were role models in our life. Role models matter.
yes.
Understanding commitment matters. And we only do this by learning what we observe. And it cannot just be one, it can be many,
Right.
because we are many that make up the one, the Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. So, with that, happy Founders Day, sorors, and we will see you all next Sunday. Because if it's Sunday, it's
It's
time for
hey
Hey
sister.
Sister. Good night,
Good night.
everybody.